Welcome to Creepin' It Real. I am Judah. We're going to be talking about the 1988 Italian horror film known as Spider Labyrinth. Now, I have been aware of this movie simply because it pops up in my feed occasionally, but the artwork never really engaged me, and I never gave it a chance. I do frequent a YouTube channel called the Cobweb Channel that is hosted by Daniel, and he did something about foreign horror that you should check out. And he brought up Spider Labyrinth. Now, I don't fall in the same category of like for this movie as Daniel did, but I did just want to make sure that you all knew about him and his content, which he's very energetic. He comes across much more put together than I do, and he often has these kind of countdowns that tackles more than just one movie at a time. So I really like his stuff. You might want to go check him out. If you've watched my channel, you know that I like monster movies. I don't like slashers. And, there's some other horror movies that I generally am not a fan of, which really makes me look like I'm somebody who doesn't like horror in general. Just because my likes are so focused, be it like a monster film. And you could say that Spider Labyrinth is a monster film, but it's also leans heavily towards like slasher almost, in my opinion. But it is Italian, so it has its own flair in this. And I did watch a dubbed version, which does give it an extra sense of campiness. But overall, I don't think it's like a fantastic movie. I think if you go over to IMDb, it's maybe got a 6.9 average out of 10. That's a little higher than what I would give it. I would give it just a 5, but at the same time, I enjoyed it. There's a certain aesthetic, and I'm not saying like the scenery and so forth. There's just something about the feel of these Italian horrors from the 70s and 80s. There's just a certain weird feel to them that I enjoy. It took a long time to get to the monster that for me is acceptable as a monster. There is a monster that appears earlier, but it's so just human with sharp teeth that to me, it's not good enough. You know what I mean? It just... I came to see a monster movie, not just somebody with fake vampire teeth. And the real monster doesn't show up till the very end, and it's a very short scene. And I was like, oh, that's fun and creepy, but not enough of it. And we were relegated to deal with some crazy woman with sharp teeth the rest of the movie.
I am the urn that belongs to the weavers. The great cobweb is closing every passage. It's a labyrinth with no way out.
This scene right here with these bed sheets, in my brain, it felt like that scene went on forever. And it didn't even entirely, like this woman... So, I don't even know how to explain it. This woman that you're seeing right here, she works at a hotel. I'm assuming it's a hotel because people were checking in and they're staying at rooms. So we're just going to call it a hotel. She's a staff member at this hotel. But from what I'm gathering, staff members are also homed in this hotel. At one point, they tell her to take care of the laundry. So that's the only thing that makes me have to forgive this is we're like, okay, so she's the laundry girl? I'm not sure. But she also has other things she's taking care of in this hotel. Like you see her cleaning up dishes. You see her serving people. I guess she's multifaceted. But she also has a room in this place. And it's the biggest room ever because she has all these drying bed sheets in her bedroom. It's like a huge, she almost lives, there must be one floor of this hotel that is just her bedroom. So it's just this big, huge open room with bed sheets drying in it, and then she has her bed off in a corner or something. That's how I see it. And she's like running around, getting trapped in these bed sheets. For some reason, the bed sheets start glowing green. I don't know. It was weird. It felt drawn out, and I didn't really feel any tension in it. It came across silly, in my opinion. That right there. Oh my gosh. That I've had dreams of ants crawling into wounds, and those dreams have tormented me. So seeing that literally did give me a little bit of a mental mind crawl. That gave me some creepies with that spider crawling in that cut. Not gonna lie.
We're studying an ancient religion, different peoples on opposite sides of the world.
There's some major, as I'm thinking about it, God, I don't want you staring at me. Get away from me. That this guy, the main story is this young professor. Guys, I'm not even gonna lie. I don't even know the story. There's a college, a professor that's getting some information from another professor in Budapest. I can't remember. And suddenly the communication stopped. But this Budapest professor had some important information that he had been gathering. So they send this young professor to go investigate because he has some kind of specialty knowledge in this area. So they send him there to go find this other professor and figure out what's going on, why the communication stopped. Very important archaeological discovery that has to do with some kind of ancient religion. So he goes there, and when he arrives, he's picked up by this other professor. The young professor is picked up by an assistant of this other professor. Now, it's obvious that this assistant and this young professor are, scoping each other out, and they got the thirst for each other immediately. This scene right here, he's like looking in the rearview mirror, but using it to like check out this woman's legs in her short dress. It's very funny. She knows it, and it's just this weird sexual tension throughout the whole movie. Even though there are like intense situations that these two are together facing, there's always this like underlined, oh, if we weren't being chased by people right now, I'd rip your clothes off. It was like there was always just this like both of them ready to just get naked and get it on throughout the whole movie, in my opinion. Now, somebody could be like, oh, you're just projecting. Maybe. I don't know. It just came off very funny and at times inappropriate. I'm not saying that people don't have attractions to each other. I've never experienced that myself, to where I saw somebody and I was just like so attracted to them that I couldn't contain myself. Like every movement and every word was a subtle hint that I wanted them in the bed that second. And I have definitely never experienced it towards me in any way. So this seems very foreign to me, this like uncontrollable desire for each other. It just seems so unrealistic. Now, a side note, forgive me, Ruben, my brother. I'm about to share a story. My brother lives in Oregon, and he was visiting back home, and we were spending several nights watching the Reanimator, series. And the one where there's the prison, there's this young guy who meets this young woman, and just immediately, just like in this movie, they are drawn together. They start talking. This is all like day one. They start talking and they just go to somebody's apartment and they just, get it on. Clothes thrown off and they just get it on. Now, I said to my brother while we were watching this, I was like, that is so weird. I'm like, that doesn't even seem real. I'm like, you don't know this person and you're just, well, we met each other about an hour ago, but I am ready to get it on. So I posed this question to my brother. And he's like, I don't know. So anyway, a month later, he went back home. He just stayed with us for a week. Month later, we're talking, and he brings that up. He's like, remember when you asked me if people do that? And he's like, well, I confirm they do. And I'm like, okay, so how is it that you can confirm this? And he's like, well, I was at this bar and I met this woman. And we went into the bathroom and we had sex. And I was like, oh okay. There we go. So it does happen. It just doesn't happen to me. Let's get back to this movie. So this sexual tension from these two really made me laugh. Which brings me to another point. There is a lot of nudity in this movie. Lucky for this guy, his hotel is directly across the street from where this older professor's assistant lives. Not only is it directly across the street, she lives on the same floor across the street where this guy is staying. So when she's, taking a bath or disrobing, like most of us, when we're getting changed to put on our pajamas to go to sleep, most of us stand right in front of the completely open window and get buck naked and just stand there for a minimum of a minute before we put on our pajamas. I'm assuming we can all agree that's what most of us do. I do not suggest anybody be a peeping Tom, but if you were, you probably stand in your own window completely opened with all the lights on so that everybody knows that you're staring at them. I would assume that's how most people do it. I mean, that's how, if I did it, that's what I would do. I'd be like, lights full on. In fact, I might shine a flashlight right on my face so the people in the other house would know that I'm watching them. That's all I'm saying. So this guy lucked out, massive sexual tension, and the woman happens to live across the street, same floor, so that he can watch her get naked every night. Seems like a good deal to me.
Worship the same gods.
Doesn't sound like a very interesting subject.
As you notice, they do eventually get in bed together, but not before a very slow plotting movie unfolds. Then finally, almost in a state of stupor, does he finally have sex with this woman. It seemed a little weird that he had to be in a state of almost not completely there for him to finally engage, even though, the desire was visibly dripping from him throughout the movie. So this guy, the young professor, he has a traumatic experience. That's how the movie starts. He's like playing hide and seek with a friend, cousin, brother, who knows, and he hides in a wardrobe. But this friend or cousin go and lock him in the wardrobe. Now, there's a huge spider in that wardrobe, so it haunts him. To this day, this spider, he wakes up terrified, having dreams about being locked in that.
Reading my mind. I can't go on.
Put it away quickly. This affair is extremely dangerous.
You have to understand how important it is.
Genevieve? Genevieve, answer me.
This right here, this image that they're showing is what really solidified me finally deciding to watch this movie. When I saw this occurring, I was like, maybe there is something here that I should give this movie a chance. And the scene, though it is prolonged, is so small and so minor in the movie. Though it is worth it. This scene is definitely worth the watch. It was too short and it didn't have a lot of involvement, and so therefore was ultimately disappointing to me.
No one must ever know. The names of the gods must never be revealed. You have been chosen, Alan.
As I just said, ultimately disappointing. Didn't walk away being like, oh, I wasted my time. This is not anywhere close in my top 10 or top 50. But for me, who I'm out there looking for new horror movies to experience, this was a good one. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I could have lived without ever seeing that movie. Which in that category of I could have lived without ever seeing that movie, Terrifier, has number one spot in there. There's some others like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. That one also is kind of like, I could have done without that. This is so far away from that category, but it also doesn't fit in my top 50, top 100, movies to watch. Not even when we shrink it down to foreign horror does this have a top spot anywhere near it. But I did enjoy the aesthetics. There are problems with this movie. There are so many problems with this movie. Like, the main protagonist is a dumbhead. Like, he's portrayed as being like the super smart guy. And there are times that you definitely see him using his smarts. Like I told you, he's like dripping with desire for this woman. And she's clearly trying to pry and get information from him. And yet he hasn't lost enough blood from his brain into his genitals to at least know I should not be sharing this information. So he's at least smart enough and has his desires under control enough that he's not arbitrarily giving out important information that he shouldn't be giving out. So I can at least give him that. However, he is warned repeatedly that he is in danger and he needs to get out. Now, I think the first person to warn him is just some kind of street guy. And anybody, if I visited Chicago and somebody ran up to me and was like, you got to get out of here, you're in danger. Well, okay. I'm going to have to use a different scenario because if you go to Chicago, you're in danger of being shot no matter what. So if somebody ran up to me and said, you're in danger, I'd be like, oh shit, I got to get out of here. I take it serious because Chicago, you don't F around in Chicago. That place is a death trap to anybody. So if somebody was to run up to me, some, crazed street person, even where I live, and then like, they're after you, you're going to have to get out. I'm not going to pay it much mind. I'm going to be like, you're a crazy street person. So that's his first encounter. Crazy street person tells him, he's like, get away from me, weirdo. Then a woman in the hotel is like, you got to get out of here, man. They have it out for you. Again, he's like, oh, you're silly. But then he starts encountering other things, like the stuff he's investigating. The professor he came to see gets murdered. Lots of weird crap is happening around him. And people are still warning him, you are losing time. You need to get out before it's too late. And he's just like, dang, dang. And he does nothing. Finally, it gets to this place where so much weird shit has happened. So many people are dead. And then he runs into this street guy. Again, the very first person to warn him. And he's like, look, I told you. He's like, you have run out of time. He's like, they are closing in on you, making it so you cannot escape. He's like, but there may be one last chance. You know, follow me and we'll take this path, and you got to take it and you got to get out of here. So the street guy leads this professor down to like these catacombs, and he's telling this professor, he's like, I live down here. There's like a tent. And he takes him to a path, and he's like, the street dude takes him to a path, and he says, follow this path. Keep going. No matter what, do not turn back. Just keep going. And the professor's like, well, come with me. And the street dude's like, I can't. He's like, I need to stay here, and I need to keep warning people. I need to keep helping people to escape. And the professor's like, well, they're going to find out eventually. And he's like, yes, they will. But my part is to help people escape. So the professor starts going. And this is like some catacombs, and he starts encountering some weird, stupid stuff like, why are there cars down there? It's dead bodies and so forth. And I'm like, okay, sure. So that's fine. Like this ancient cult, they're storing their murder victims down here. Whatever. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but sure, we'll just go with that. There's, all kinds of weird things in here. And the professor's walking through it, acting like it's the worst thing he's ever encountered. And I'm like, do you not remember what it was you just experienced like 10 minutes ago? Somehow this is worse than what you just experienced? Made no sense. So then street guy goes back to his tent, and lay in wait is that woman that you saw in the trailer with the sharp teeth, and she drools on him and she murders him. Professor Dumbhead over here, total idiot at this point, decides to not escape, not go the direction that Street Man told him he needed to go to get out, and turns back. Then he encounters Street Man strung up from the ceiling and dead. And instead of this solidifying, OF, I need to get the F out of here. No, now he's like, oh, I need to go back the way that I came. I need to go back to the city that I just left where everybody was trying to murder me. Because that makes the most sense. I can trust everybody there. So Dumbhead goes back. The fate that befalls him, he deserves. Because of him being so effing stupid. Anyway, this is when that spider that's coming out of that casket occurs. Very fun practical effects. Very weird, but so short. But I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's very, that scene, that practical effects, that creature is weird. It's very weird. The movie does not have a happy ending, and it's just a whatever movie. It was an okay one-time watch. I am not going to run around telling people they need to see this movie. But if you're a fan of Italian horror and you've never seen this, then give it a try, because you're probably going to enjoy it. But for me, it's just an average horror movie. Nothing spectacular to speak about other than that few moments when the main monster appears. Just being able to have that visual and be like, oh my gosh, what were people thinking? That was quite fun. But this is just kind of a stereotypical kind of, secret society, cult worshiping, elder god type stuff. And I do feel that there are other movies out there that do it much better. But this still has a place in that subgenre in horror. So I don't know what to tell you. I tell you on IMDb, which, I trust way over Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 6.9. So that's not a bad score, but for me, I'm just giving it a 5. giving it a 5, and I'm going to stick with that. But if you have seen this, if you love Italian horror, if you have other Italian horrors that you think that I would enjoy more than this, please leave them in a comment. If you think that I have given this a score way too low, and you think that this is a classic that should be held in much higher than regard than a 6.9 that you find on IMDb, I want to hear what you have to say. Please like, subscribe, and share. And if you have made it this far, I want you to know how much I appreciate you. In fact, my subscribers have skyrocketed in the last couple weeks. And I want all of you who have chosen to subscribe to me how much I appreciate that. I want to hear from you. I want to engage with you. I want to know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. I'm Judah. This has been Creepin' and Real. See you later.